Hey everyone, Alireza here, and today I want to introduce you to an exciting tool called Langflow. If you're diving into the world of language models or working with LLMs like OpenAI's GPT, this tool is for you. So what is Langflow? In simple terms, Langflow is a visual programming environment for creating, designing, and optimizing language models workflows. Think of it like a no-code or low-code platform where you can easily drag and drop components to build complex workflows for your language model. You can connect different models, set parameters, and see the magic happen without writing tons of code. Langflow makes it super easy to experiment and fine-tune your AI models. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced engineer, if you're working with LLMs, it's a game changer. So if you're ready to build a smarter, faster, and more intuitive AI workflows, give Langflow a try. Don't forget to check out my step-by-step guide on how to install and use it in your local machine. Without further ado, let's jump right into this video. If you already installed the Langflow, you can actually open the command window and try here by running the Python -m Langflow run. With this command, you can run the Langflow in your local machine. Okay, Langflow is running now. Now we can click on the URL and open the Langflow environment. Let's click on that. And then when you open the environment, you see this page. There are some things in this page I want to explain to you. On the left side, you see the list of the folders of your projects. You can create different folders here. And on the right side, also, you can see the button that you can create new projects. In the middle, there are some menu that if you have a different flows, components, you can switch between them and click on them and filter the screen. Or you can type in the search area here to filter your screen. I want to create a new project. Click on the new project. And then as you can see here, there are a lot of templates that you can use in the Langflow that I'm going to cover in the next videos. But for now, I want to stay with blank flow. So I click on the blank flow to start an empty flow. If you click on the blank flow, it directs you to this page that you can see the empty page that you can start using the components to create your flow. You see a lot of components here: input, output, prompts, data, models, helpers, vectors, embeddings. So if you click on each of these components, it shows you the available components in the Langflow, and constantly Langflow is adding new components. And you can drag them into your page and create a new flow. You can connect the components to each other and make a connection between the components. And each component also has a lot of properties and features. And if you click on the component, you see this small menu on the top. For example, you can freeze this component in the flow, or you can actually click on the left menu, the advanced settings. You can see the advanced settings there, or you can click on this icon at the end, which shows you the code of this flow, or basically this component in the flow. So you are able to edit the code and add your customized code into this code. And after that, you can click on the check and save. If the code is correct, you can save the code. So if you click on these three dots, you can see the old menus, including those that are actually we discussed already, but there are more also menu here. You can also see the download menu here, which gives you the JSON file of this component. If you click on the JSON file, for example, I can open it in the Visual Studio Code. But in order to see it, I think I need to enable the word wrap. Otherwise, it just shows me everything in one line. I can find it not here on the view menu. Yes. And as you can see, the whole component is exported as a JSON file, so you can use it there. And this is how you can actually configure every component. And as I said, there are a lot of components there that you can choose. If you click on the data, you see you have a lot of databases. If you click on the models, you have a lot of available models here that a lot of them are probably familiar for you, and new models are coming constantly, and we can actually use them in our AI flows that we can create. So I close the whole components. As you can see, there is an experimental part on the left side, which includes a lot of experimental components. And this is, as it mentioned here, it's in the beta version, and but still you can give it a try and see how it works. And when it will be released, it will be added on the top side. Now I remove this, and let's create a new flow here. So I go back, remove this. So click on the new project. And then here I want to choose basic prompting, hello world. Like always, it's interesting to start with the hello world. And now here we have a hello world flow. It's a basic flow that it contains a chat input, prompt, OpenAI, and chat output. We're going to configure some of these components and see how this flow works. As you can see, for the LLM, we are using OpenAPI, which we need to configure it before we use. And for that configuration, we need to add the secret key here. I already created a video, shows you how you can create an OpenAI paid account. If you didn't watch that video, please follow it based on the link I put here. So now I put the secret key that I created before here. So now I put the OpenAI key. Now I can actually try to test this flow and see is everything working and everything is correct. So if I click on this play button on the OpenAI component, as you can see, it starts checking all the steps from the beginning to end, and it does place a green tick icon on the top of each component. Then you can see everything is working. But how we can actually test the chats? In order to do that, you need to click on the playground on the button. You can find the icon in the button, and then we can click on the playground. And here, the chatbot is opened, and then you can try and put some prompt. As you can see here, the language of the chatbot is quite interesting. It's answering like a pirate, and that's why the language is different from what we used to see from the ChatGPT, for example. And that is one of the interesting features that we have here, that we can configure the prompt. So let me just ask a question. For example, can you explain what is DevOps? Because I'm really interested about the DevOps. So let's see what it gives me, this chatbot. Okay, now I can see the answer here. It's quite interesting, the way a pirate can explain the DevOps. It's quite funny. And so we can actually change this. Let's close this window. And the way we can change it, we can go to the prompt window. Let me just zoom in on the prompt. So let's click on the prompt. So as you can see here, it is configured the prompt in a way that it says, answer the user as if you were a pirate. Let's change it and make it different. So I'm gonna say, answer the user in a professional way with some examples. So we wanna give some examples when we describe anything. So I just click and check and save. And before that, I want to mention something here because I forgot. It's the way we can create a variable here on each component. Here, as you can see, the user input is here inside the curly braces. That's how we can define a variable. And you can see the user input also here outside, which is connected to the chat input. And this is how we can replace the user input from the chat input. You can also click on the advanced from the menu here and see your configuration here as well. So now I close the window, and then I want to go back to the playground and test it again and see what will be the answer this time. So previously it was a pirate, and now the chatbot should act like a professional. So as you can see, the answer is completely different. This time it gives me a quite concrete answer about the DevOps description, and also it gave me a lot of examples based on the DevOps practices. Basically, it gave me all practices, and for each practice it gave me one example. It's so cool, it's interesting. So this is coming from the OpenAI, that we use the OpenAI language model here, and we connect it to the OpenAI API. So what if we replace this with something else? For example, instead of connecting to OpenAI API, I would like to connect to the Azure OpenAI. It's coming from a different platform. So let me remove this component. So I can click on the component and remove that. And now I can drag the Azure OpenAI here. So as you can see, Azure OpenAI has different parameters to configure. It has inputs, endpoints, deployment model, API key, and API version. It also has a temperature. We need to configure these parameters here, put the value there. First of all, we need to go to the Azure. I already have an OpenAI instance, so I can go to the resource management side on the left and then click on the keys and endpoint. Here I can get the key and endpoint. I just copy the endpoint and then come back to the Azure to get the key, copy paste the key also in the API key. So now I need to configure the input. So I connect the prompt message to the input. Also, I need to connect the output of the Azure OpenAI to the chat output. So I have a text here. I drag it from the text to the output. So the input and output is connected. So the next thing is the deployment name. Where can I get the deployment name? For that, I have to go back to Azure and find out the deployment name from the model deployments from the OpenAI instance. And if I click on the manage deployments, it directs me to the OpenAI Studio, where I can see the list of the model deployments. So currently I have GPT-35 Turbo model deployed. So I can just type in the name of the model here. Now I need to test it. And then, something is not working. As you can see, it says not found. I'm familiar with this problem. Usually it's because of the API version. So I just change it to the older version. And I think it should be fine. Let's give it a try again. Okay, now it's working. Everything is working well. Let's go back to the chatbot, to the playground, and give it a try again. So ask the same question. This is quite interesting. Let's see what will be the difference. Interesting. You remember last time we got a quite extensive answer from the OpenAI API, and now with this model, I mean the ChatGPT Turbo 35, we get quite short answer. But this is just because we are using the older model. Let's change the model to something more recent. In the time of the recording this video, the latest model is GPT-4o, so we can go with the GPT-4o mini, which is more affordable model. I just copy the model. I just create the model here. The model is created immediately. I think it's not gonna work right away, but let's give it a try. I close the playground. Before that, I clear the chat. So if I change the deployment name here, and now click on the play, it shouldn't work. Usually it takes a couple of minutes. Okay, as I expected, it says it doesn't work. Probably it says if you created the deployment in the last 5 minutes, you have to wait and then try. Okay, I'm gonna pause this video and give it a try after 5 minutes, just to make sure that the model is deployed and is accessible. Okay, I waited for 5 minutes and now I can try again. Actually, I did try one time before I click on the record, but let's do it again. Nice. So it's working, and now we have a 4o mini model available. Let's go back to the chat and ask the same question again. Here we go, we got the answer. The answer is quite extensive. It's really interesting to see the differences between the model, the newer models giving the better answer. It's more concrete, well structured, and there you can see how you can actually choose the different models based on your requirement and how it can impact the quality of your results. So this is how you can configure the chatbot and use the different components. As you can see, we use the OpenAI, we use the Azure OpenAI here, and we did a lot of different configurations, look into the different features, and this is how you can use the flow. Now, the question is how you can actually export the flow and using it somewhere else. So one thing interesting is the fact that you can actually export each component separately by copying the code and even changing the code before export. But apart from that, you want to know how you can actually run it from the outside. So if you click on the API on the bottom, you can see this page that it gives you different options that how you can run it as a curl, Python API, and Python code, chat widget HTML, and others. So in order to do that, you also, in some of these ways, you need to have a JSON file from the whole flow in order to run it, like this one, for example, run flow from JSON. So how you're going to do this? So you need to export the whole flow. In order to export the whole flow, you click on the name of the flow on the top left corner, and here we have an export option. If you click on the export, you get the menu to export the flow. And before I click on the export, there is something that you need to configure, that if you want to save with your API keys or not. If you save it, it does save the API keys inside your JSON, which I don't recommend. But if you want to just test it, and it's for testing purpose, it's fine. You can just do that and just export the JSON file. So when you configure this, then you can click on the export button, and then you will get the JSON file, as you can see. And then if you click on the JSON file, you can see the JSON template here. And then you can start configuring using the Langflow from your application and integrate it into application. Okay, this was the video about the Langflow, just to get us started with the Langflow and understand how it works, how you can easily start creating the GenAI application with that. I hope you like the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. New videos are coming soon. Thank you for watching.